Have you ever seen a flop straight flow?
What is up, guys? We are back with another RWT podcast. It's your boy JP and myself, Kevin. What is up, JP? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing okay. How about you, Kev?
Ah, man, just another week. We're another week, and it's a big week. It's the Oscars, and
Yes, it is.
this is for all you movie goers that love movies. We're gonna give our picks for these movies, or who's gonna win Best Actor, Actress, stuff like that. We're just gonna talk about some of these films because literally some of these films are you gotta watch these because I feel like a lot of these are like historical films and like really interesting shit, man. So did you watch any?
I watched some, not everything.
Mhm.
Like Oppenheimer,
Yes, of course.
Spider-Verse,
Right.
Barbie.
Barbie.
What else? I did watch Past Lives this week, which I wish
Oh,
I saw sooner. But I've been aware of a lot of these films. I just having time to get to. I want to actually watch some of these in theaters, but it's finding the time to. Hopefully, I
right.
get to watch one or two this week.
Oh, nice.
But some I have avoided just because I've heard how big of a drag they are. But
Right.
anyways, we can talk about it. We
Yeah.
can talk about it
So
later.
this week we have special guests. A good friend of ours,
Yes.
Mr. New York himself, JJ. What is up, brother?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, man? Welcome.
What's up, sir?
Thank you for coming on to our podcast today, bro. Appreciate you.
Of course. Yeah, no, good to finally be on it.
Yeah, you're part of the era of the Rip White Tee, 100%. So it's good. It's good to have you on here, man. Yeah, if you guys don't know JJ, he's a filmmaker, USC grad, Trojans, you know what I mean? And we actually lived together in LA in 2014, and we started our LA lives out there. And yeah, man, how you been?
Yeah, man. Been good. It's a little cold here
Oh
in
yeah,
New York, but excited for spring.
spring
But
is coming.
excited to talk about these movies, though.
Yeah, dude, I got a lot of big names, a lot of big movies for sure. So let's just dive. Let's talk about some of these films for let's start at the best picture, right? We got
You want to go best picture first?
What-
We
what
should
do-
go with other
okay.
no. Let's go with the other topics. I feel like we could save
okay,
that one.
yeah. Okay, we'll
for last.
okay. I feel we should probably go best animated feature then. I guess
Okay.
kind of the lower end
Sure.
here. Um.
Yeah.
Okay,
What do
so
we got?
we have Across the Spider-Verse,
Mhm.
The Boy and the Heron, Nimona. I honestly never heard of that one. Elemental and Robot Dreams. And
Interesting.
and for all you people who dabble into the gambling world, we are looking at the odds of these categories and who's possibly going to win. So based on this list right now, Spider-Verse is minus 225, and I can't say that I've seen everything else here. I've seen Elemental.
Mhm.
It's okay, it's a fun,
My surprise there is that Elemental as a Pixar film. Right? Is it a Pixar film or is it Disney animation technically? I think it's a Pixar.
I think it's a
film, right?
Pixar film. Well, I'll
think it's
double check
Pixar.
that. I'll double check that for
have-
you, but go ahead.
But to have that long of odds, what are they, second longest?
Yeah,
out
they
of the
got,
they're
like,
basically second
2000,
last.
like 2000, dude, plus 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a surprise to me, just because from a technical like aspect on how well Pixar does their films.
Yeah.
That it's that heavy of an odds, basically.
Right. Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
again, look, I'm not surprised that Spider-Verse is pretty much the heavy favorite.
Right.
here.
Yeah.
It's a
I
Disney
honestly think
Pixar.
Elemental, Disney Pixar.
Disney
Wait,
Pixar.
So,
It's on
so
the,
it is Pixar. It's not just a Disney then.
yeah, it's
It
like
is Pixar.
yeah. So
Mhm.
Yeah. I do think Elemental overall visually was better than Spider-Verse though.
Interesting.
that's
Story-wise,
interesting.
Yeah, because we've already seen it in the first film of Across the Spider-Verse. So like how
Oh, okay, I see what you're
like
saying.
aside from adding in live action characters and visually, yeah, I don't know how much different it was from the first film. Story-wise, different.
Mhm.
really different or different story. But for the best animated, I think the dark horse is Elemental because of how much it didn't get promoted, but how well it still was
Right.
received from the audience and reviewers. So
No, for sure. I also think if you want to talk about story wise, do you think that because Across the Spider Verse is kind of it's like a two-parter, like it wasn't a full, like the story wasn't finished technically. Does that hurt anything in terms of storytelling? Do you think so?
I don't. Maybe from a storytelling aspect, yes,
Mhm.
but I don't think the Academy voters who vote for animation
Mhm.
are as, I guess, they don't weigh storytelling as much as maybe say like screenplay does, which
Okay.
is purely
Yeah.
the storytelling on the page. So
So they're more about the technical, artistic, like technical,
yeah,
uh,
correct.
yeah, side of
Yeah.
the animation versus the story. So okay, uh,
So basically, think of
mm,
it as like at least for like animation for animated feature,
mhm.
animate other animators, other those who are in that sort of
Yeah,
field are voting for those specific
right.
categories.
Yeah.
So
Um,
from the perspective of an animator, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I
Yeah. Yeah.
guess, look,
yeah.
you're taking, you know, across the Spider Verse. I know it's like the second one that they've done, but I think the choices that they've made, both in the first film and here, are
Mhm.
very much different from what you see. You could say Boy and the Heron, Miyazaki,
Mhm.
like very,
Yeah,
very traditional, what you would say more traditional like animation style.
yeah,
We've seen it
Right.
before.
definitely.
It's like his 25th, 24th film, something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Legend.
you know, yeah, and it's building off of that. Then Elemental is your standard, I think, Pixar
Right.
approach to both story and like
Mhm.
the technical side of it. So I don't know. I feel like the odds are heavy because it's it's still fairly new
Right.
when it comes to Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Mhm. All right.
Okay.
But here
Um,
with Elemental, I feel like Pixar itself is I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's like they're kind of in like a rut a little bit, kind of like Marvel movies too, where like people are like, oh, it's not as good as the old days, and I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of like you said. This movie wasn't promoted a lot. It felt like it wasn't in theaters very long, and then went straight to Disney
ye-
Plus. So
yeah, I think it's an issue with streaming and marketing versus giving the audience like knowing the fact that this will end up on streaming eventually. It's taking a lot of
it just
there's
you're saying it deters
yeah
people from
people
going to watch it in theaters.
yeah in theaters, yeah, pretty much. So
Well, I
that's
mean, here's the thing though. Like, I still think I may be wrong here that there is a requirement for films to have a theatrical release.
Mm.
yeah.
So with that, it's like I don't know if the voting members take that into account. The
Mhm.
Academy is very strange in that they want to implement a lot of new world thinking in terms of like how
Mhm.
do people consume media.
Right.
Like I
Mhm.
believe the theatrical like limits in terms of like the minimum has like decreased over time because of streaming,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So um and I could be wrong there, but I I I think it's I don't know if they care as much. Is
Okay.
basically what I'm
I see.
getting at.
Not
Interesting.
as much because like remember when streaming first, like the Netflix tried to do their best get nominations for their
Right.
original films. Like
Hmm. The
they were a bit a
Irishman.
little bit
Yep.
yeah, The Irishman was one of them. Yeah, or was it the first one? And I know it was like 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks run in theaters.
Hmm. Yep.
To be able to have qualified for the Oscars. But
Mm,
I think Kevin was saying more so of reputation, and
mm,
we were all kind of hitting different points of why Elemental may not have been as popular as Spider Verse or The Boy and the Heron. But
mhm.
I think it just came down to yeah, just not promoting it well enough. Because like how did I'm going off tangent here, but how did like something like Encanto do so well? Like, wasn't that kind of under the radar for a while, and then that came back up?
I can't remember because I
I
can't
can't
remember
tell
the
you.
nominees from last year. Yeah,
You
Mhm.
can't tell
I
you.
mean,
Okay.
here's
But-
the other thing to consider when it comes to like just all nominations.
Yeah.
There's always a story for what the
Mhm.
winner will be, and I think and when I say
Yeah.
that is just I think voters are going into it thinking what does it say about the Academy to choose
Mm.
this
Right.
person or to choose this film.
Right. Right.
Okay.
My guess, and I don't know if we want to do we want to do predictions?
Sure. I'm all
Yeah,
for
for
it.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My prediction is going to be The Boy and the Heron.
Ooh, a little
Mhm.
And
upset.
reason being is because Miyazaki has only won it, I think, once for Spirited
Ah.
Away,
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Okay. Yeah.
2001, right?
Mhm.
And I think there were rumors on like, is this his last film?
Ah.
Is this one of his last films? Like, what will how involved will he be moving forward?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already been awarded, like lifetime, like
Yeah,
achievement
achievements,
awards and
right.
all that.
Yeah.
But will this sort of be like
The icing on the cake.
icing on the cake, his last like send off, his last hurrah, kind
Last
of thing?
dance, baby.
Yeah, the
Okay.
last dance,
Yes.
Miyazaki. Yeah. So I think even though it's at what even odds, it's
Yeah,
second
straight
best
even. Yeah,
odds.
yeah, even right
Yeah.
there. These may
Boy
have
and the Heron
changed,
would
by
be
the
both,
way.
yeah.
I said these to JJ about a week ago. I'm not sure if they've changed, but
I
I'm
don't know
sure.
how they could change.
I-
Miyazaki got injured. He's placed on the DL.
Yeah, we're putting him lower. No, but yeah. So sometimes I just think because in terms of like and the media, like the more they talk about a film, I feel like can adjust odds and stuff like that. But again,
true.
so again,
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
I doubt
Voting
these.
may have been over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
voting may have been
Yeah.
over. So, but that would be my choice. Boy and the Heron. would be
Okay.
my
I
my
like
pick.
it. That's a great pick, and my thinking on like this best animation. The reason why Spider-Man is minus 225, I feel, is because a lot of hype. It's probably like the most like out of all these, like the most watched in theaters, probably most streamed. If we're looking at numbers, stuff like that. But I just feel like there's a lot of hype for this. Like the studio
Mm-hmm.
who makes this, they even had concept art for a Batman Beyond with the same
Oh,
studio.
really?
But DC, those guys over at DC suck, so they're just like, no, we don't want it. But that's nor here or there. But what do you think, JP? Who you gonna make a pick here or anything?
Given what JJ said about technical achievement in the film, given out of the 3 I've watched on there, I may have to give it a Spider-Verse because of it took 1 year to do the entire Spider-Man people scene.
Yeah.
And that fact alone of how hard they worked on like 20 minutes, I think may tip the scale for them to like knowing what all those people who are voting know and how hard they work. Not saying that anybody like any other crew didn't work any harder, but the man hours to put into that one
Mm-hmm.
whole segment, I think may have gave Spider-Verse the edge to win.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know if you talk about man hours being put in the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know we're not talking about
Man,
this today, but like for VFX,
Mhm.
Godzilla -1, right?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Tiny
Okay.
budget for that VFX.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, will it be recognized in that same sort of way?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's what they did with a small team, right?
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
that is
That's
my-
tough. Yeah. That's a good point. Man,
Yeah.
I wish I got to watch Godzilla -1 in theaters, dude. I didn't. I missed it. Like, I kept making an excuse to not go, and I love Godzilla. Like, I'm excited for the new one coming out, but I wish I got to watch that in theaters. On the biggest screen I could. So
instead of Dune 2.
Dune 2. It was with my popcorn bucket. But all right, so I'm just gonna take the long shot here. I'm gonna take Elemental. Maybe there's a
Okay.
return for greatness for Pixar. Maybe they're back. You know what I mean? So JJ's taking The Boy and the Heron. JP's taking Spider-Verse, and I'm taking Elemental, baby, plus 2,500. Let's go. Payday. All right. Hey man, I like this discussion on the animated features, and a lot of these features, these films, you could actually watch. Like Nimona's on Netflix right now, so you could watch that there.
Okay.
And If you haven't seen Robot Dreams 2, I just saw the artwork for it. It's very like different. It's versus everybody. It looks like it kind of looks like Adventure Time ish, kind of like the shading stuff. So it's interesting. So I'm definitely gonna check out those other ones for sure. So all right, moving on. What are we moving on to? I did not make an
Let's do
out.
one of the actor or actress. Pick one of
Oh,
those.
okay. Let's
So
go.
we'll go best picture last.
Let's go. Okay, women are in, so women are gonna go first. So let's talk women. So this is a huge one here. So, all right, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Annette Bening for Nyad. I didn't even know that. I didn't even see that one. And then Carey Mulligan for Maestro and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Yeah, it's a silent N, so you have to pronounce it as
Yad.
yeah.
You ain't down. You ain't down.
That's what
Dad.
the whole movie's about.
Yeah.
Hey
It's
man.
Annette Bening just being like, "Yad."
Yad. You ain't.
Yeah.
I didn't even get that, so you fucking said that shit. But yeah, okay. So, odds here. The two favorites. Of course, Emma Stone is minus 350, and Lily Gladstone
Mhm.
is minus 170. I definitely think these are the two we're looking at. But give me your thoughts, JJ. Let me know. What are you thinking?
Look, I think this is probably the most interesting category.
Okay.
Because of the odds here.
Right.
For if you're looking at Emma Stone at the favorite, which actually when I saw this
Mm-hmm.
list or I saw the odds, I was surprised
Really?
because I went into it watching Killers of the Flower Moon, seeing Lily Gladstone, and thinking that she was going to be a heavy favorite.
Right.
Mhm.
For many things, for many reasons. I mean, this comparison is
Mhm.
similar, I think, to the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Hit me.
Wait, what odds are you guys going off of?
Oh, it's off of the where I make the bets.
Okay, I got Vegas Insider right now, and they have Lily Gladstone minus
As a favorite.
162,
How much?
and Emma Stone one plus. Lily Gladstone is 160 minus 162, and Emma Stone is 120. As of now.
Oh, okay.
Updated today.
So again, let me okay, just give me your point. I'm gonna log in to my site and I'll give
Yeah,
you
I
my
mean-
live odds.
So look, this is the reason why I think it's comparable to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Everyone talks about the NFL script,
Yes.
right? And like
Mhm. Yeah.
who does
course.
the NFL want to win, right? And
Yes.
the one thing I was hearing was what's more interesting of a story, the Niners winning the Super Bowl, or Niners winning the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy is a new guy, newcomer, last pick, Mr. Irrelevant, leading a team, surrounded by superstars, to win, to bring the Niners their 6th Super Bowl, right? Or
Yeah.
since in 30 years. Let me add that, right?
Mhm.
Or is it Patrick Mahomes gonna win? What is it? His 3rd, right?
Yeah.
His 3rd, and probably he has many more to come because of his age. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just another championship in the dynasty, right?
Right.
I see this matchup as something similar. Where
okay.
Emma Stone, she's won this award before.
Ah.
She's at the stage of her career where she could pick and choose any sort. This is no
True.
longer super bad. This is no longer super bad. She could pick and choose any film she wants to do. And in this case, she working. I don't know if you guys have seen Yorgos Lanthimos' other films, but this if you watch Poor Things, it's much tempered compared to his other films.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
Poor, you know what I mean. So I think, and I bring this all up because I'm thinking in the minds of the Academy and the Academy
Mhm.
voters. right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and I also agree with this, which is, I think that the Academy is looking at Lily Gladstone, who is potentially could be the first Native winner of the Best Actress Oscar
Mm-hmm.
to win it this year. For and I think that's the storyline that I think voters are looking
Yeah.
for and what the media is looking for. But all to say is well deserved because then
Right,
she's
yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite going into it.
Yeah,
So my pick would be for Lily Gladstone.
Lily Gladstone.
Also,
She
look
was,
this up. You know why she started? You know why she started acting?
why did she start acting?
She said she wanted to be an Ewok. Shout out to my Filipino Ewok.
Let's go.
She watched Star Wars as a kid, wanted to be an Ewok, and realized that she couldn't be an Ewok unless she became an actress.
Wow, I like
So
that. Give her
that's
the
the
Oscar.
story.
Okay, Romeo. So never bet against Emma Stone. I guess so, but we'll see.
My stone.
Is this Emma Stone or Emma Stone's Holmes?
Emma Stone Holmes? But that's I like that. That's a great that's a great story, and I mean, there's been a theme, right, with like Golden Globes and Oscars, like kind of moving into this new age of diversity, stuff like that. So maybe
True.
maybe there's a chance that that's possible. And just an update, I have updated odds here. Lily Gladstone's now minus 185, but I have Emma Stone at 350 now, so her
Oh,
odds
plus-
will,
bigger.
plus
minus
350 or minus 350?
minus 350. So my site still has her as a huge favorite. So I don't know. I don't know who I don't know who's coming up with this on my website. So we so but yeah. Emma Stone, very accomplished. Poor Things was I saw the trailer for it. I didn't know how I was going to respond to this movie, and after watching it and seeing how well, like, how different range of emotions from her in this film, it was just really like amazing. It's like you said, like she's the Patrick Mahomes. She's in her bag and she's just going to work. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. And Lily Gladstone in the Killers of the Flower Moon was really, really good. Like you could feel her emotion. It was just really like
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't have to do much.
yeah, like it's effortless. It's
It's
you know what I mean?
effortless.
Sorry.
It's Mahomeless.
But yeah.
Overfullest?
Yeah. But I'm gonna just make a case for one of these other actresses here, and that's Sandra Huller from Anatomy of a Fall, because because that movie, if you haven't seen it yet, it's about a guy who's dead, like he fell off like the balcony or whatever, and everyone's like, well, she killed him. Like, no, he killed himself. And it's like, so during the trial, it's all about they're finding out all these secrets that they had, and they didn't have the perfect marriage. And you could just see like the stress level in her face and the way she's reacting to questions and her defending herself in front of the jury and things like that. And it's just she really made you feel like you wanted to be on her side. You know what I mean? That really, she was so convincing that, of course she's, should I say spoilers here? Spoilers? I mean, she's acquitted, she's not convicted. So it's rule, she does, they let her go and stuff. So, but at the end, it's still ambiguous. Like you don't know if she did or did not, but she, like I said, she did a good job of convincing you that, so she's plus 1200. I just like what she did also. That's just like, really good.
I think just to compare the three films that we've talked about so far, I think for Poor Things and for Killers of the Flower Moon, both Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone,
Mhm.
Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone. I just realized that they're both Stones.
Ooh.
That definitely it's like the whole piece, their whole performance, I think contributed to their nomination.
Right.
Same thing with Sandra Huller, but there were a couple of scenes in there that I was like, these are the scenes that are getting her that award.
Right. Yes, that's true.
So there were definitely scenes there in Sandra Huller's performance within Anatomy of the Fall that I'm like, this is what's getting her.
Her nom. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
For sure.
And maybe it took the movie to get there, to build up to that point. But I think those are the sort of main differences between Sandra Huller's performance and then Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone.
Yeah, for sure. You got a favorite here, JP?
Yeah. Well, my obvious conspiracy pick with the story of what the Oscars want to do is Lily Gladstone. Well, just because like how much
hmm
these award ceremonies have been bashed on lack of diversity, so I
Mhm.
think Lily Gladstone is where they want to go, so they don't look completely whitewashed as have they been for the last century. But um, it's either Emma Stone or Lily Gladstone because, from my perspective, those two films have been promoted substantially. Um, at least I still watch regular traditional television, so I see those commercials. I see
Right,
those
yeah.
ads. I see it more prevalent than all the other three films. So this is pretty much it's gonna how be my picks for the rest of the way. Like I've been aware of these other of Killers of the Flower Moon and Poor Things more than I have the other ones if I wasn't openly seeking them out. So definitely I feel like Lily Gladstone is most likely going to win because she sure won the Golden Globe, and
Oh, so
so
you're going
usually,
okay, okay.
yeah, that's I think that's
And a little
gonna be the
indication.
trend.
Ah,
Yeah,
all right.
and like, yeah, and we'll get into that later. What I think of the Best Picture will be given who won what in the Golden Globes.
So JP's crackpot theory coming up soon. So, all right. So, uh, you're taking Lily Gladstone, JP.
Yeah,
JJ, you're taking Lily Gladstone
Bad a
too.
bit.
I'm taking Lily Gladstone.
All right. You know what? Let's all be on the same side and let's just root for Lily Gladstone. Minus 185. We're probably gonna put 2 units on this one for sure.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, but
The
if
safe
Emma
bet,
Stone
well-
is minus, yeah, depends on Emma Stone's odds too.
yeah, I mean Amazon's minus 350. That's
That's
Yeah.
pretty heavy.
that's heavy. So I like 185. 185 sounds good to me. So we could take that. So on to the men of really quick though. You mentioned effects, right? Special effects.
Mhm.
Godzilla minus 1 is actually the favorite at minus 160
Oh,
for special
wow.
effects. So I'm just throwing that out there because that's actually a
Wow.
good call on you, brother. So all right, so we're on to best actor. We got Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Bradley Cooper for Maestro. Oh dang it, who's this? They're all like Coleman Domingo, Rustin for. Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Mhm,
What's Rustin? Is that a movie? That's a movie, right?
mhm.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
that
it
one.
is.
It's like the first one that like popped up. I haven't heard of. Like Paul Giamatti, Holdovers, and Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction. All right, our thoughts here, guys.
Oppenheimer.
I mean, he's minus
It-
1300, bro. Cillian Murphy's
Yeah,
minus
Cillian-
1300.
Cillian Murphy. Yeah, it's
Cillian Murphy's minus 13.
1300.
I got 14 on my end.
Yeah, 1300.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, what you
Well-
said it was 800. But I
Well,
guess
yeah,
I
no,
might
it's
have
like
used-
I'm going off live. What I have
Okay,
right
okay.
now. But he's still the overwhelming favorite.
That's, yeah, that's even more of a favorite than I thought it would be.
Like, yeah, it's
You
huge
know,
now.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I was trying to look to see if there's a case for anybody else. I
Mhm.
mean, if anything, it's for Paul Giamatti with what probably second favorite odds
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's reuniting with Alexander Payne, and a lot of people are considering The Holdovers to be the best film that Alexander Payne has made since
Mm.
Sideways,
Ah,
in which Paul Giamatti was in.
he was in.
So, yep. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they obviously that they pair well together.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a longer odds, I mean these are long odds. is
Yeah,
what I'm
huge.
trying to say.
Yeah.
Too. So and then I would say my third pick because I think my first. It's no spoiler. My first pick. I'm going with basically the heavy favorite,
Right.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
But Bradley Cooper in
Oh,
Maestro.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think you could see in the social media posts
Mm-hmm.
that like that Netflix, I guess, Netflix is like pushing out because it's a Netflix film.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, like Bradley Cooper, is working with one of the most legendary makeup artists.
Ah,
to,
yeah.
So it's a lot of, that's part of his prep. And like,
Mhm.
he spends 5 hours a day in the makeup chair to
Yeah.
get the 5 different looks that, that he has throughout the film. He worked with the LA Philharmonic conductor Gustavo Dudamel, Dudamel to like
yeah.
to learn
how to
Netflix.
do it properly. Yeah.
So I think if anything, there's probably because of the push, the social media push, that
Mhm.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I don't think Netflix would be doing that if they didn't think he had a chance.
Right. Oh,
But-
okay. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
He has the lowest odds right now. I don't know. What do you have? Is it still plus
Oh, shit.
5,000?
Let me see.
For
For
he
best actor, right?
Best actor.
Yeah.
He's I have him at plus 1600.
Is he
Plus
he
16.
moved
he
up?
moved
then?
up.
He moved up a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
So I think maybe that's an effect of like the award season, push when it comes to, hey, look at what this actor did for this role, So
Yeah.
you'll probably have seen a lot of those types of posts, and I think that's probably moving the needle with Netflix
Yeah.
pushing.
Yeah, it has to.
So
I like that's a I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Go
Before we
ahead.
move on to the next category, the side question: do you think we would get a Netflix nominated Best Picture film first, or a superhero Best Picture film?
Well,
nominated or
Win.
Win.
oh,
to win.
has to be a Netflix win.
Or Netflix win?
I think it's a Netflix.
I mean, only because it's so narrow.
Yeah,
Mm.
There could also,
it's so.
I mean, what
Netflix can
Dark
put
Knight
out.
was probably the closest.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's like early super.
Mm.
In this age, in
Yeah,
this era of the last 20 years,
Yeah.
superhero films.
Right.
I think Dark Knight was probably the closest in terms of odds or.
Yeah, I
chance
think
to
so.
win,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because Heath Ledger won Best Supporting that year.
Yeah.
After he passed and stuff. So, to that credit, if like I said, bro, if Barbie won this year, I would be furious. In my opinion,
Why?
it's we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
And menace.
but big but in terms of best actor, I'm just gonna go with a big long shot here. I'm gonna just go with Jeffrey Wright from
Okay.
American Fiction, because
Look.
he's one. I think he's underrated. I think he's an underrated guy, underrated actor, and I'd like to see him I'd like to see him win one, because I think he's an amazing actor. So
In a very different role than he's used to playing.
yes, very
Who?
different. Yeah.
But to be honest, I haven't seen it yet.
Mhm.
But it's next on my list just because of Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You got to pick here, JP, or you're gonna go with favorite?
Cillian Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take Cillian Murphy, and we're gonna put one unit on Jeffrey Wright. Just Hail Mary. So
No, Mary.
so I guess that brings us to our
Best
best
sound
film.
design.
I guess because I mean, best director and best film kind of
Mm-hmm.
go hand in hand, right? I guess sort
No.
of. No,
I
Not
don't think so.
necessarily.
You don't think
In
so?
my opinion.
Oh, okay.
No.
So,
So,
did
I
we
mean-
say we were gonna do best
We
director?
could talk. Yeah.
We could spend a little bit. I mean, it's a smaller list anyway. So best
Yeah.
director. So
talk
Christopher
about thoughts,
Nolan.
yeah.
Christopher Nolan is at I have him at minus 5,000 right now, and
Wow.
and then the next one here actually is Jonathan Glazer's The Zone of Interest at 1,200, and Yorgos and for Poor Things at 1,200, and then Scorsese at 1,500, and Anatomy of a Fall at plus 2,000. So huge discrepancy here, but
Yeah.
any
Look, I'm-
cases for the other guys?
I'm surprised that Justine Triet is nominated that with that heavy odds.
Right.
Just from an odds perspective,
Mhm.
and almost matching probably Scorsese there. Those are, I mean, that's surprising.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's probably more of a testament to Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer.
Right.
It's kind of like it's like Christopher Nolan was operating on a whole nother level
Mhm.
in many ways
Right.
than most people on this list, and that's
Mhm.
not to take away from them. I'm gonna go with Christopher Nolan as the
Yeah, I mean,
to win that for
it's-
many reasons, and I know we're gonna talk about that for Best Picture.
Mhm.
but the surprise there is probably Jonathan Glazer is probably my second pick there.
Wow, nice.
Um,
Have you seen that movie? How,
Yeah, it's probably
how was it?
it's probably my favorite film of the year.
Really?
Okay.
Are you guys are you both aware of what it's about? I could probably
Yes.
give you a
not.
little.
Let me say what I think it's about,
Yeah,
and you tell
yeah.
me if it's true. It's a
Okay.
Holocaust movie, but they don't show the Holocaust.
That's pretty much it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's definitely the.
I
theme of
watched
it,
the
right?
video.
Is
It
that
follows? Go ahead.
the twist, or is that just
No.
the hook?
No, it's
to
just
get you
If
to watch
you-
it?
if
Oh,
you-
I don't
if
know.
you- If you are unaware of the Holocaust or are a Holocaust denier or some weirdo like that, then you probably wouldn't get it, and probably I don't know why
Okay.
you would be watching it in the first place. But you would need some sort of knowledge of the Holocaust for
Right.
it to understand the movie. Look, to me, it is, I would say, probably my favorite film of the year because of how many layers just
Mhm.
it peels back. When it, not just when it comes to the story, not just when it comes to the historical context, just of telling another a Holocaust story, but from a
Mhm.
different perspective.
Yeah.
It's just like, look, that was the most uncomfortable I've been in a film, like
Wow.
watching a film in a long time.
Wow.
Mm.
And I think that's very, very difficult to
Yeah.
do. I think what Jonathan Glazer did with this film was like it's very much it combines so many different genres. It's a
Right.
historical
Mhm.
film on the surface. It's a
Mhm.
drama. It's like a family drama,
Yeah.
right? Like if this film could be about a guy trying to climb the ranks at some corporate office, and it wouldn't be as
Right.
interesting of a film. But because it's this commandant
Yeah.
who runs this camp,
Right.
and his ascent into his career is
Right.
through the ranks of the Nazi of the German of the SS party, right?
Yeah.
It makes it far more interesting, right? And there's if there's a couple of twists here and there in terms of how they present the information when it's, especially at the end when you're asked to what do what is this film about? And I think that's hard. It's a very unique way of telling that story.
Mhm.
And I think because of that uniqueness is what makes Jonathan Glazer on this list for that film.
Gets him a little nod for best director. So Romeo says Jonathan Glazer, wasn't that your nickname in college?
I don't know if that has to do with either me eating a lot of Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, that's
or
right.
Eating a lot of glizzies. That's all I could think of.
Yeah.
That's appropriate, at least.
I mean, I guess
Goddammit.
I guess in terms of best director, I mean, this is probably a no bet for me here, just because it's a minus 5,000 bet, so
Mhm.
it's really not worth putting your money on because it's such a heavy favorite. So, I guess if we had a big gun to head, Christopher Nolan obviously, and Jonathan Glazer second. But like you said, Yorgos with Poor Things, like that was a great film too. So, I think that's if they don't reveal the votes, right, in terms of who came in first, second, or third, or something like that.
No, they
They don't, right?
talk about the vote
So
spread.
if I had a choice, it's probably gonna go, like you said, Christopher Nolan, and then Jonathan Glazer, and I think Yorgos would be I think this is how it falls here. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. So with that said, the big one. Oh yeah, sorry, JP, go ahead.
So this will just transition to the big one. So whoever wins best director, they will not win best picture.
Ooh.
If Christopher Nolan wins, I think Yorgos is gonna win, or Poor Things will win best picture.
Ooh, interesting. Is this a trend that you just found out about?
No, this is just, I'm going off of spread diversity. Like, I think Oppenheimer should win the lot, because I didn't watch as much as I should have on this list, but it was the movie that made me want to go watch it in theaters, watch it in IMAX. It was the most compelling to watch it how it was intended.
Okay.
So I want them to win, but knowing how it's award season, there's human elements to voting here, and they want to, like you said, tell a story. They're gonna vote a certain way to make perception be like, hey, we're letting certain movies shine
Okay.
as well as acknowledging others. So if Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan wins Best Director, Poor Things is gonna win Best Picture.
That's a bold statement, bro. That's pretty wild.
I would say you've convinced me, JP, to then change my vote to just go with Jonathan Glazer then, because I think we're
Oh.
also making the same argument about VFX, right? Where if
Mhm.
Godzilla -1 is the heavy favorite there, I think that's good for cinema, because it's saying, like, you don't need Marvel's
No.
budget to make a good film that is recognized by VFX artists, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the same way, like, yeah, you don't need to make Oppenheimer to have other people understand, like, hey, like, this is what's worthy of
Mhm.
Best Director.
Interesting, man. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to Best Picture, Oppenheimer, this has changed now. I believe it's minus 5,000 now in terms of odds. Yeah, I have it at minus 5,000, with the next one closest being Poor Things
Poor Thing.
plus
Yeah.
1,000, and
That's
then
interesting.
and here's interesting, Barbie at plus 1,800. And then after that, Killers of the Flower Moon, the Holdovers at 2,000, and then Zone of Interest and Killers of the Flower Moon at plus 2,200, and Anatomy of the Fall at 2,500, and rounding out American Fiction at 3,000, and Past Lives at plus 5,000. The big long shot there. So very interesting here, guys. Is there any of these films that we haven't talked about you want to talk about? Like, you want to make a case for them winning here?
I mean,
Before we get to
there's
the
a
big
case for-
boys.
yeah, I mean, there is a case for all of them winning,
Right.
obviously.
I love to hear the case for Barbie, by the way.
Look, no, here's the
It's-
thing, and I think the Golden Globes did a what you call it, a category that's sort of catering to this part that I don't think is I guess not mentioned enough. Like,
Mhm.
how does it do in the box office?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Right,
Right, I
gotcha.
can't remember what I'm trying to look it up right now. Like, what
Cinematic and box office achievement.
exactly? Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So here's the thing: when it comes to Best Picture, like, if I were a voting member, I would take a couple of things into account. One is, and it's why the producers are nominated for this, is because it's the picture overall.
Right.
It's all of the
Everything.
elements that go into it. And I think one thing that's overlooked, one, I think these are the intangibles, right? And they don't give much, like, direction when it comes to allowing, the voters, hey, this is why you should vote for, this is what you should take into consideration.
Right.
I think there was a couple things. One is the hype, or like the virality
Mm-hmm.
of it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much is it mentioned? How much does it leak into like pop culture outside of those who are film goers? A lot of people are film goers, but like, how does it stretch beyond those?
Okay.
Yeah.
Two is and I think this is probably more of like, a recent, no, actually it's been going on for maybe until like since the 60s. Timeliness. Why is this film important today?
Okay.
Not just being made, but
Mhm.
why is it important to be seen and talked about today? And then third is box office.
Okay.
How does it do in the box office? Now, and I think Barbie checks a lot of those boxes.
Ah.
Yeah.
It being all Barbenheimer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that whole sensation to get both of those films. I mean, if you just look at Oppenheimer and what Oppenheimer and Barbie did for like box office in the summer, it like did immensely well,
Mhm.
right? Barbie, I think it grossed like I'm looking at it right now, 1.5 billion in the
That's
box
huge.
office.
Huge.
That's huge.
Huge.
It's huge. And I think that you cannot, especially post pandemic, where it's people need to go to the box office and need to need to watch things so they can keep so films can be made.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah, I gotcha.
Barbie did that.
Mhm.
Barbie did that. So I think in a way that it's an underdog because of that reason,
Ah, okay.
right?
Hmm.
But do I think that it's going to win? I don't think so.
Mm.
I mean,
You know,
yeah, for sure. Like that puts a lot into perspective. I like that. I like that take a lot, and I'm not on the Barbie train, but I do I have a better understanding why Barbie's on this list. I understand.
I am surprised that Greta Gerwig did not get nominated
Oh,
for
Yeah.
Best Director.
okay. Interesting. That is interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Is there a cap on these things on nominations per
No.
category?
I can't remember.
Okay.
There used
I
to
don't
be,
think
and then they lifted it, and I'm not too sure anymore.
Okay.
About
I would
if there are caps.
feel like they need a match if they're gonna nominate the same amount of best pictures. It should be the same amount, at least
Directors?
best directors and best actresses and actors. But that's just
Interesting.
I mean, I
that's
could read
just
off.
me.
I could read off at least the requirements for how like voting for Best Picture.
Yeah, let me hear it.
I have it right here. So, Academy members from specific branches, so they nominate in their respective categories, and then for
Mhm.
Best Picture, all voting members nominate. Okay. And then
Okay.
in the nominations round, Academy members vote to determine the nominees in each category, including Best Picture. So you essentially have two votes:
Okay, gotcha.
one for your branch, and then one for
Mhm.
like Best Picture.
Best
overall.
picture. Okay.
Okay.
And then final voting is that all Academy members are eligible to vote in the final round to determine the winners.
Uh-huh.
And they use a preferential voting system. So voters rank the nominated films in order of preference. This
Mm.
system aims to ensure that the winner has a strong overall support rather than simply the most first place votes.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So it's ranked voting, like
One
Well,
through
so if
one through
they-
whatever.
one
Interesting.
through whatever. So if they they may not get. If
It's
they
like
got more
it's like
second place
MVP
votes.
voting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like MVP voting for like the NBA or like
Ah.
MLB.
I like that. That's pretty.
Yeah, okay.
That's nice. How can we implement that in our country? That sounds great,
That's
but
a whole other thing.
that's a
about,
whole nother can
yeah.
of worms. But
So, hey, it is Super Tuesday, guys.
it is Super
Did
Tuesday.
you vote today?
Get out there and vote. But
Yeah,
all right,
rock
so-
the vote.
so let's just get into it, guys. What is give me your pick for Best Picture and your dark horse. Give me your best pick, and your dark horse here. Okay.
Who do you win? JP, go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah. Give me what you got.
Obviously, Oppenheimer, I want to win, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna go Barbie. Given what JJ said.
Sorry.
You know what? No, for real. Like,
no, I
I
just
watched
that's such a JP move for you, but
No,
I'm
no,
all
for
for
real.
it. It's
I
fine.
watched- No,
Yeah.
because I did the same thing that weekend. We watched Barbie first, and then Oppenheimer. 'Cause
Oh.
I didn't want to be like it's how well they make me want to watch these films in theaters
Right.
as just a regular moviegoer. And those were the two films of this year that like, okay, let's go out to the theaters, let's go watch them, and how the directors told us to watch or wanted us to watch it in, or let's go enjoy the film and learn the choreography when you get out the theater. But am I the only one who did that? Okay. Anyways,
Yep, you are.
but yeah, cool. But like Past Lives, I heard some buzz about. Poor Things is all over commercials and ad feeds, but like the best drawing power was Oppenheimer and Barbie,
Mhm.
and the hype met the buzz. So
Okay.
I'm hoping I could see the dark horse being Barbie, given that the Greta Gerwig was not nominated. Gerwig wasn't nominated for best director. So
Okay.
again, what stories do they want to tell? Like, so that's where I'm gonna go with.
I like it. That's a good pick. I'll go next. Give me Poor Things as my pick.
Mm.
I'm gonna take that as best picture. Okay, and then for my dark horse, I don't know if you could call this a dark horse. This is more like the horse in the back. I'm gonna go American Fiction. I think if we're talking about the stories we want to tell, I just think it's kind of a good way. You know, I mean, okay, this sounds bad. Like just showing more forwardness in terms of diversity and stuff. I think is it worthy of best picture? I don't think so. But if we're clearly talking about diversity and stuff, I would either give it to American Fiction or Killers of the Flower Moon. If we're talking strictly diversity, you know, but we're talking about best picture here. So I think for me, Poor Things is it just hit different than Oppenheimer for me. Oppenheimer, I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the development of, you know, the bomb, you know what I mean? And, you know, you had all these historical characters like, you know, Einstein and this shit. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of historical like value there. And was it my favorite? Like, probably I wouldn't say it's my favorite just because it's like it was okay, like I enjoyed it, I had a good time, but Poor Things just took me on this like different journey that I felt like it not hit home, but like it just stayed with me a little bit more. Like I thought about it more after I watched it, stuff like that. So yeah, so those are my two picks. And yeah,
I think so. I'm gonna go with Oppenheimer to win Best Picture.
okay. Is this
as a favorite.
would this be, has Nolan won Best Picture before?
He has not won Best Picture.
He's won Best Director.
But he's won
though.
Best Director.
He's been nominated. I think he won for Dunkirk.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
For
think.
direct, okay.
I thought he
You can look it up.
didn't win
Look it
anything
up
for
while I'm-
Interstellar.
I'll look it up for you. I'll look it up.
I don't think so. But Oppenheimer would be my pick for all the reasons that I laid out even earlier, right? Which is the hype,
Yes.
the timeliness, and the box office. You know, but I think my dark horse is gonna be Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
For many reasons. I mean, one, because of the timeliness. I feel like, especially in this like this era of us seeing Trump in a bunch of these trials and having that seen publicly, and sort of the story of Killers of the Flower Moon and the Osage tribe and how sort of they've been taken advantage of in the 1920s. That story will essentially be the one that sticks out a little bit over the rest of the dark horses.
Mhm.
And then getting Martin Scorsese another like Oscar. You know, I think it'll be his second.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Nolan has never won an Oscar.
Yeah.
He hasn't won Best
In
Director.
Dunkirk. What year that was?
2018, I believe.
20. And who won that year?
I don't know. I'll have to check that for you. But he hasn't won Best Picture and he hasn't won Best Director. So now this is kind of
mean,
like,
Interesting.
is Christopher Nolan the Dirk Nowitzki of directors? Like, he's a great dude. Everyone loves this guy. Is this the year that he takes and he finally gets over the hump and wins? If we were
I think
talking,
so.
if we're talking about finishing the story, JP, I think Christopher Nolan finishes his story on
Okay.
Sunday. You know, so
All right. Well, wipe out all my picks from today. Oppenheimer clean sweep is my final change for this year's Oscars. If we're gonna tie it wrestling and movies and the Oscars, it's gonna be Nolan's story then. Screw diversity. Give it to the white guy who's been doing this so well for the last 4 decades. You know.
Right,
Don't
right,
worry
right.
about the rest. They'll have their time.
Someone stall for me while I look for this information here.
But going back to
Oh, The Shape of Water.
Mm.
The
Shape of
Okay.
Water.
2018
Oh, okay.
2018 won Best Picture.
Okay.
That's the one where the chick bones the alien, right?
Heck yeah.
That was Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo
Yeah,
del Toro.
Did you see that, Kev?
I did not watch that. I thought it
Check
was
it out. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll check it out. I thought it was the dude from what's that movie? Oh my god, why am I forgetting? Hellboy. I thought it was Hellboy's partner, the water guy. You know who was
Oh.
always in the water.
No,
I was like, oh, he's getting a
it's
spin-off, dude. He's getting a spin-off.
it's not a connected universe.
Sick. But yeah, okay. So repeat one more time, Jay. Your picks for best picture.
For me, it's gonna be Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
You have a dark horse.
I will-
What's your dark horse?
Oh, Dark Horse is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going like I said, I'm going full diversity. Killers of the Flower Moon, and then American Fiction, and then JP. You said
Oppenheimer.
He said no diversity.
No diversity. Oppenheimer all the way. Dark Horse is Barbie. No,
Barbie,
I want
yeah.
Barbie to win.
You want Barbie to
I want
win,
Barbie to win.
and then Dark Horse is Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah, I will agree with I will agree with JJ though on going
You
back
don't agree
to.
with me on everything, JP.
Yeah.
Of course I will. I copied your homework throughout college.
There
if
you
I
go,
actually went to
perfect.
class, but
So
No.
yeah, your final thoughts, JP.
nah, nothing.
He's
I don't
got
know. I just
no final
I got none. No final thoughts really. Just when I feel like it's award season,
Mhm.
I've like it's just always a feeling. I haven't heard of any of these movies up until December. I know that's how it goes.
Usually, yeah.
Sometimes, usually, but
Well, I mean, if you're not
I just-
like
yeah,
deep into the I don't know, like scene or whatever, you know, if you're
Yeah.
not like, you know,
it's
hardcore,
true.
you know. So
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like dark horses are gonna, despite what I've been saying as jokingly, I
uh,
think the dark horses, the ones under the radar, will surprise the award season this year. For the whole telling a story about how does the Academy
Right.
want to be perceived. So, whatever's the top favorite may not end up being the winner.
Right.
Is what I'm thinking.
so on that note, if you're talking about, you know, how the Academy is going to be viewed, I think we should have full transparency, and we should see how everything lined up in terms of how everyone voted, in terms of what came in first, second, third, stuff like that. I think that would be a good way to see if there is change in terms of diversity and stuff like that. So that's very interesting. But JD Notaro, who is the host this year of the Oscars? Who is the host? Do we know?
Good question.
Is
I
it-
don't even know.
Is it Joe Coy?
Is it Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel.
It's
give
Joe Coy.
give our boy Joe
Yeah.
Coy one more shot. Like, let him meet everybody.
look. Yeah, you know, let him meet everyone.
Yeah.
And then he can make fun of him.
Yeah.
No, he he
It
got
is
cursed by Taylor Swift.
Oh God. So
Yeah,
oh yeah, so
well,
it is
you
Jimmy
know,
Kimmel, right? That's who we
Joe
post.
Coy, Joe Coy and the Niners
Ah,
just getting cursed by
Getting cursed by
Swift.
Taylor. That's Swifties, and yeah. But it is what it is. What about you, Jay? You working on anything right now? You got any
Me?
projects in the pipeline coming down or anything? I don't know.
I'm still working on a documentary.
nice.
It has to do with the 1992 Little League baseball team from the Philippines.
Oh right.
Basically, it's about, it follows them, who they are today.
Oh,
They won in 1992, and they basically got caught cheating.
fuck yeah.
So it follows them and who they are today.
That's cool.
That's what I'm working on. Yeah.
All right, nice. That's nice. Good. I've been. I didn't ask you pre-show if you were doing any had anything. So I said, "Fuck it, just put them on the spot." You know, see what. But yeah, man, that's any last thoughts on the Oscars and diversity or anything you want to add to the directors of these
Yeah.
movies or anything? Feel free, shoot away, fire away.
Yeah, I mean, look. When I was at USC, the whole start of the Oscars so white conversation sort of exploded, and I think then that conversation has matured in a way that I think is more productive these days, where it's not just about. And I think American Fiction actually, when it comes to the timeliness of that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
is probably sort of like where it's a satire on that conversation,
Right. Mhm.
right? Like who gets to tell what stories
Mhm.
and how do they get to tell those stories?
Mhm.
Mhm.
What do some people expect? and what do, as in some, what do, um, you know, white folks who are in power expect from people of color in telling their own stories,
Right.
in that conversation. So, I think it's come a very long way in the last 5 years around that,
Yeah.
and hopefully continues to grow from there.
Sounds good.
I did. I think I remember seeing a trailer. It reminded me of you though, JJ. He was in the book section, about his about one of his books. It says, "I like it's not a African American story," and then I was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, and it's just like you're. I know you're like, I don't want to be known as a Filipino director. I just want to be known as a director
Director.
or
Right.
as a writer. And like, if it's that fine line of like, I want to tell a good story that's based on my cultural background, but I want them to acknowledge it for the skill set that I
Yeah.
have with. So,
Yeah.
just that scene alone like gauge my interest of where's this movie's going to be going. So,
Nice.
but yeah.
I like it. So, I guess that is it for us this episode. JJ, thank you so
Mhm.
much for being on here, man. Hopefully, we could get you back on for another topic, another episode here. But be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, everyone. We need your help, please. Desperately. But yeah, we're trying to bring you guys content every week. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.
Peace. Bye, y'all.